Hi there, this is Brian Haberly doing my speech. I'm showing you that I have an audience. Sure. Let me get this set here. Lego, a word that is synonymous with kids' toys. It's a combination of the Danish word leg and go, which means play well, which is what is the embodiment of the company's philosophy, meaning that everything is done well. Lego used to be just with kids' toys. Now it can be used for everyone. There are different set styles and ages, themes, just a whole variety of selections that a kid of any age, from 1.5 to 99 years old, you look even on the packages, you'll say from 1 to 99. Growing up, I used to play with Legos a lot. Started with the castle theme, and then eventually went to the pirate theme, and eventually I kind of grew out of it. My interest for Legos has renewed due to the fact that my daughter Nora is very fascinated with building things, and my wife and I have spoken about introducing her to Legos for her first time, maybe possibly with Duplos. Also, my renewed interest is due to my recent viewership of the show on Fox TV, Lego Masters, hosted by Will Arnett. Excuse me. Lego is an example of a company that has been able to adapt and its approachability and weather the economic storms of the century. But how did Lego get to the mega billion-dollar company it is today? Well, back in 1932, Ole Kirk Christensen started the Lego company. He was a master carpenter and joiner. He started building wooden toys, and as the feature prominent as the feature for the company. But he also would build other things like Christmas tree stands and excuse me, I apologize, I'm losing my voice, and furniture to compensate for the company's financial needs. It wasn't until 1936 that they started building exclusively toys. And where we think about it, the toys being, these plastic bricks, they only made wooden toys. It was 1936 also is when they made the name change to Lego. Combination, again, of leg and go, play well. It was a contest held within the company that they had different employees come up with the names, and finally it was Ole Kirk Christensen himself that came up with that combination as well. So, I apologize. With that, they started to focus on toys in 1936 and weathered to fire in 1942. And it wasn't until 1947 that they started making plastic toys. And 1948 is when it was the introduction of the forebearer to what we think of the traditional Lego brick. It is was called the automatic binding brick system. Unlike this particular brick that we're very familiar with, it had the studs, and I'm going to get close enough for the camera to see, but it did not have these inner tubes, so it wasn't as strong. And it was a moderate success, but they still kind of kept on focusing on building other toys as well. But in 1958, Ole's son Gottfried, one who came up with a patent of an innovative system. So what it was and what it is, these studs will fit into these tubes. The studs are slightly bigger than the tubes, and it makes it pushes pressure on the outside of the brick And the way that the plastic is designed, it wants to retain its shape. So you have friction on friction, and that's why Legos are so strong. The type of plastic that they use to make this with is one that's called acrylonitrile benzoatrine styrene, or ABS for short. It starts out as small, tiny granules that they heat up to in an oven about temperatures about 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and then they pour the melted plastic into these molds, and these molds are the same exact molds that were used back in 1958. So any brick that's made today can interchangeably be used with bricks in 1958. The other great thing about efficiency and approachability is that fact that the factory makes about 33,000 bricks a minute, and all the plastics going through, they recycle all but 1% of the plastic. So they reuse it. And the 1% that they cannot use, they send it to somewhere else to be used. So it's a efficient process that allows the company to save lots and lots of money. Did you know that 6 of these bricks, these 2x4 bricks, which I have 6 right here, can make a combination of 915,103,765 types of forms, connections. Just 6 bricks. What that leads to is a world of imagination. As you hear my daughter in the background playing with her Lego bricks, and actually it's the first time she ever has seen them. It allows people to use their imaginations and develop. It's what Ole Kirk Christensen called freeform play. The ability to use your imagination to design whatever you want. And that's something that we hear all our lives. Use your imagination. Use your imagination. Speaking about imagination, and people of all ages to use and build, in 1969, Godfrey again came up with something, the Duplo, which was a style of Lego brick. It was larger size, that it was for ages 1.5 to 5 years old. It was something that allowed kids, even newborns practically, 1.5's not newborns, but you get the picture, and to create and be able to build and learn. Now, the one thing I keep mentioning about Lego is approachability. Approachability is not only just with sets, but approachability also means an exposure. Now, exposure being like, for example, Legolands. Now let's get a little bit closer here. So this is the very first Legoland, built in 1969, just a few miles away from the factory in Billund, Denmark. And since then, spread out across the world, 3 different continents: Europe, Asia, and United States. It has 12 different Legolands, and there are 3 more coming soon, including one in Shanghai. The one thing I keep reiterating too is imagination. Well, in the 1970s, the Lego Technic was introduced. Lego Technic was a set that allowed free movement, like vehicles and flexibility. It was geared towards a larger audience. It is one that was predecessor to a lot of now traditional sets that are, I should say, not traditional, but future sets that were use many different moving components, rotating items as well, and even to the introduction of what's called Lego Mindstorms in 1999. What Mindstorms were R is actually, or an R, because they just recently ended in this past year in December 2024, was a robotic version of Legos. They used a software component that will tie into to PCs and Macs, so you can program the Legos to move in different ways and shapes and forms. Even Carlos Torres came up with a concept for disabled children to create Legos for their limbs and robotic design, so they can make it a pirate or a scooper, or have it even as a hand, a gripping hand as well too. I don't know if you want to take a look and see, pass it around, and see what they, creation. And again, imagination, be able to use whatever you can in your brain and apply it to physical use. Now, the other thing I mentioned too about exposure is also and approachability is the ability to weather storms, economic storm that is. So back in the 90s, Lego went to ebb and flow, basically. The ebb and flow of economically. And what I mean by that is now the ability for kids to play arcade games at home. And so the company had to figure out what to go from there. So they introduced competitions and even more recently, Lego movies. So you can actually be able to kind of translate your imagination to the screen as well. Lego was named in 1998 by Fortune magazine the toy of the century. Now, excuse me, I apologize. And these being for all the items I have previously told you too. The quote Time magazine in their 50th anniversary edition of Legos they mentioned that it was their ability to adapt and come up with something new. So with that being said, I want you to explore, enjoy, and see where your mind goes when you next time you come across a Lego. See if you can build a castle or a castle themed set or a pirate set as well. I want to say thank you very much.